Very good. How are you?
Cool. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for asking. So we're in Nottingham.
We are.
You're in Nottingham. I'm always in Nottingham.
Yeah.
And you're on tour.
I am.
You're on a UK tour.
Yes.
With the Traitors.
Yeah.
Is there any particular name meaning behind the name the Traitors? Have they ever betrayed you?
Well, the short version is Mickey and Rob, who played drums and bass, had done a tour before under the name The Traitors, just kind of as a joke with this other guy. So the name was kind of lying around. But when we left our former musical world and kind of went out on our own, nobody ever came out and called us that. But we were kind of treated that way, so the name kind of rang true, and we thought it was funny. Then the new Star Wars movie came out at the time, and we're all huge Star Wars fans. And once that happened, we were like, okay, we're going to stick with this one. So, yeah, those three things. They had it already. We were kind of upon our exit from our previous music world, considered that, and then Star Wars kind of sealed the deal.
Right, okay, fair enough. I like to see films and TV influencing music and stuff. So, how's the tour been going so far? Because you're sort of halfway through now, aren't you?
Yeah, we have tonight and then 3 more. It's been incredible. We had all this momentum. We kind of started over. I call it the sea change. So all the people that were coming to see us before kind of went away because the music we were playing then is different from what we're doing now. But now we have this whole new audience who seem really excited, and it's growing really fast and really big. Tonight will be a good example. Tonight's sold out, and then Leeds was, London is, where it's close. So you get these, these shows that are selling out way faster than we're used to. So I think next time we'll get to bump up to bigger rooms, which is kind of what you want.
Yeah, of course. So what's the idea behind the music then? Is this, you say it's kind of maybe a little bit different to what you've done in the past. Mm-hmm. Is this always something you've wanted to venture into? This kind of, it's a strange mix actually. I think I've been listening to some of your music, and it's a strange mix of a blend of kind of folky and then quite rocky. What is behind that? Is that always something you've been into?
So I think it's what happens when I'm from Texas. I've always written the same way, but Mickey and Rob are from the UK, and they come from like late 80s, early 90s, like metal rock, right? So that's what makes us sound the way we do. That their thing combined with kind of Texas country rock. I've always written the same way. I've just been in bands with other people that made it sound a little bit different. So I think this is the first time there's been kind of an accurate representation of what we, I should say, have always wanted to sound like. But yeah, it's been the same forever. But it's funny to me to go back and listen to older stuff, and it sounds so different because I feel like I've always written the same kind of songs and liked the same kind of music.
And it sounds like the Traitors, a lot of people sort of have, a lot of solo musicians go on tour and they have a backing band and they call their backing band the thing, but it sounds like there's a lot of influence from the Traitors as well. So it's Ryan Hamilton and the Traitors as one band, and it's kind of inseparable, I guess. Is that sort of true?
It is, yeah, and we struggle with it. That's actually been a struggle on this tour because people, whether it's a radio interview or even something like this is a good example. It's not an issue or a problem, but I think because I have the history, right, people want to talk to me about the band. And it's fine. I mean, it's my name up there with what I consider our band. But I think that's the one thing we weren't ready for, the balancing act of, they only want to talk to Ryan, or, this doesn't look like a band to some people, but I really want it to be. Yeah. I really want it to feel that way and operate that way. And we operate that way when we're making decisions about songs or tours or whatever. But I want it to be a band. I want it to be seen as a band, operate like a band. That's what I want. So whatever I can do to keep people from going, it's this guy, this backing band, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So I guess that's encouraged then. talk a bit more about your musical influences then. We ask a question. I always ask a question at the end, like one standout musical influence, but we'll get to that in a minute. Is, you know, you say that some of your band always like listen to very heavy rock, like late 80s or early 90s kind of thing. Is that the kind of thing you're into as well? It's kind of, is it not?
No,
not at all.
I don't. They'll put something on and I won't know who it is.
Right.
I know, you know, the bigger bands, Van Halen and Poison and all of that. But yeah, I'm not into that really at all. I think it's funny. I find it funny. Yeah.
So it's all very kind of what you're used to then, you know, like I'm guessing growing up in Texas and things like that.
Yeah.
So very.
There are a few artists that we all like and have listened to for a long time, like Stevie Ray Vaughan. John Mellencamp is a random one that me and Mickey kind of bonded over. But there's a very big difference in like what we listen to at home when we're at home listening to music. It's night and day, really. So it's. The band shouldn't work the way it does because we're all coming from very different musical places, but yeah.
Do you ever find it difficult getting into those other influences then from the band, or do you kind of take it as like you can do it, so why not do it kind of thing?
Yeah, I like that. I like what they bring to the table because it creates a sound that sounds like us. It sounds different. The trick in this business I'm learning is not necessarily to sound pretty or sound good. You want to sound good, but you want to sound unique. Yeah. You want people to hear you and go, that's this band. Because there are people that sing way better than I do. I would never win a singing competition, but because we're all kind of true to ourselves and I'm true to the voice that I have, we generate a sound that is ours. So when they come in to add parts to a song, I like to just kind of let them just do their heavy metal-ish, hair metal is a better word, thing. I love what it brings to the table, for sure. Yeah.
And so what's the kind of scope then for the next, maybe let's say year or 6 months? You've got this tour. What's going on after the tour? And what's the idea with like releasing music and recording music and things like that?
I think this album has a lot of life yet. We're on the second radio single. We've made a lot of, without sounding like a dick, we've made a lot of friends, like kind of heroes who become friends on this tour. You kind of look out in the crowd and you go, oh wow, there are 2 or 3 like musicians that I grew up listening to. So there's this old guard that's coming in and paying attention and wants to help us out. So we've only planned up to here, but I think some of the relationships and the momentum and stuff that's happening now, I think that's going to lead to some opportunities after this. And with the exception of some like radio stuff and some online stuff, we haven't planned any other tours. So we really don't know what happens after this.
Right. Yeah. And are you always writing? Are you always coming up with new ideas? Maybe like even when you're on tour, I know it can be really busy, but are you always kind of in the process of thinking about making new music, or at least writing?
People ask that a lot, but I've never been able to do that. Just sit down and write. With songs, I kind of wait for them to happen, and then if it comes together in like 5 minutes, I keep it. If it's not done in 5 or 10 minutes, I get rid of it. Yeah. Okay. So as much as I used to try, and I'd kind of like to be able every day take 5 minutes, get the guitar. It just doesn't work for me. I'm not sure why.
Fair enough. Okay then, so we'll go back to what I was saying earlier. As one final question, if you can name one musician that is kind of the standout musician for you, that's kind of inspired you as a musician, I guess, who would it be?
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan?
Yeah. He changed music forever. I really like people who have the balls to be themselves even when it's not popular. And the irony ends up being that's what makes them popular, because they have the courage to do it different. And for me, he's the epitome of that. If you don't know his story, it's just an incredible thing that he did, and the way he changed music. Music wouldn't be what it is now without Bob Dylan. And I know that he's a small part of that list from the old blues guys back in the day, up to Bob Dylan, and then after Bob Dylan. But for me, he's the most important one.
Fair enough. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
Ryan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely show tonight.
Thank you very much.
And rest of the tour.
Cool.
And good luck.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.